YouTube. What is crack-a-lackin'? It is Scott from Semi-Pro here, and I have some bad news. It is over. It was a great run for Phillip Rivers on the Chargers. He made 8 Pro Bowls and overall was a really good QB for a long time in the NFL, but it is over. I'm sorry I have to be the bad guy here, but let's call it how it is. This man is 38 years old, trying to learn a new system on an average team. I am much more comfortable putting an older Tom Brady or Peyton Manning in this situation because they were winners their whole careers. But as good as Phillip has been, he is just not a winner. In 16 NFL seasons, he has won over 10 games in a season 4 times. For reference, Matt Ryan, Russell Wilson, and Joe Flacco have done it more times in far less seasons. And Andy Dalton has done it the same amount of times. Andy Dalton. Come on, man. I don't mean any shade towards Phillip, but his whole career he has simply not been a winner. Not to mention his 5-6 record in the playoffs. So if in 16 seasons with a lot of good teams around him, he hasn't even been able to make a Super Bowl, how am I supposed to believe that the Colts are now contenders? Don't get me wrong, I think Phillip can put up a decent season statistically, but I in no way expect this team to make the playoffs with him at the helm. There have been QBs that have been able to win on new teams at an older age, notably Peyton Manning and Brett Favre, but both guys were winners going in and had much better teams around them. I think Tom Brady will have similar success in Tampa too, but that is for another video. That said, the Colts don't have a bad team, but the infrastructure in place is not good enough to carry a 38-year-old QB who at this point is mediocre. The offensive line is by far the best part of this team. Obviously, Quentin Nelson is there holding down the left side as maybe the best O-lineman in the league, but it doesn't end there. Anthony Costanzo, Braden Smith, Ryan Kelly, and Mark Lewinsky round out one of the best groups in football and are all more than capable and will be a nice wall in front of Phillip, and he will at least be protected much better than he was with the Chargers. But after that, it gets kinda sketchy. T.Y. Hilton is a more than capable wide receiver with a lot of big playability, but in my opinion just isn't a number 1 in an elite passing attack. Michael Pittman was drafted by the team this season, and while he has potential, he won't be a huge factor in his rookie season. Then they have almost no depth after that, with Paris Campbell who got just 18 passes last season, Zach Pascal, and Marcus Johnson. If you haven't heard those names, there is a reason. I am not too high on the Colts receiving core, and it is a big downgrade from his stellar group in Los Angeles. The running back position is really solid with Marlon Mack and Jonathan Taylor, but as valuable as the running game is, it just doesn't do it for me in terms of being all in on this team offensively. They have a mediocre QB and a mediocre receiving core, which almost always makes for a mediocre team. Now, sometimes this can be made up for by great defense like it was during Manning's time in Denver, but again, it's just mediocre. They ranked 18th in defense last season, and they did add 2 nice pieces in DeForest Buckner and Xavier Rhodes, but that doesn't suddenly make this a top 8 defense in the league, which is what is going to make this team a contender. I do not expect Rivers' time in Indy to go extremely well at all. In my mind, best case scenario is they win a close divisional race in the AFC South and get a playoff game and have a guy to mentor Eason, and worst case scenario, he shits the bed or gets hurt and Brissett has to step in. We have seen what Rivers is for 16 seasons now. A really good QB, but just not a winner, and I do not expect that to change in year 17 with a mediocre team. It's over for Rivers. Accept it. We have seen his peak.